Okay, let's be real for a second. Privacy policies. They're usually super long, incredibly dense, and just packed with legal jargon, right? But somewhere in all that fine print is everything you actually need to know about your data. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise. We're decoding the XOVA Wallet's privacy policy to get you the answers that really, truly matter.
So let's just dive right in with the one question that's on everybody's mind. What does any of this actually mean for me? For my security, for my privacy? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. We're going to break down what's happening behind the screen, and we're basing it all directly on the policy itself.
All right, so first things first. Let's start with the most basic question there is. When you're using the wallet, what information are they actually collecting? Because it's so important to understand the difference between the data the app needs to work and the data that is and has to be 100% yours.
And right here, this is the critical distinction. Over on the left, you've got the functional stuff. Public blockchain info, which is, well, public, device analytics to help them fix bugs, and maybe some optional contact info. But look at the column on the right. That's the one that really matters. XOVA says, flat out, they do not collect your private keys, your seed phrases, or your passwords. And that right there is the entire promise of a non-custodial wallet.
So what even is a private key? Well, think of it like the PIN for your bank account. You need it to get to your money, but you would never, ever give that PIN to the bank teller, would you? Of course not. It's the exact same idea here. Your private key gives you, and only you, total control of your assets. XOVA just gives you the tool to use it. They never, ever get to see the key itself.
Okay, so we know what they collect. The next logical question is why? I mean, they're not just collecting it to let it sit on a server somewhere. Every little piece of that data has a specific job to do. And honestly, understanding that job is the key to feeling safe and secure. And it really boils down to three main things. First, it's used to actually power your wallet, to process transactions and talk to the blockchain. Second, that anonymous usage data helps developers find and fix bugs. And, of course, built new features we all want. And third, it's for security, to protect against fraud and to comply with regulations. Basically, it's all about making the app work properly and safely.
Okay, now for the elephant in the room. This is probably the biggest worry people have with any app or service they use, and for a really good reason. It's a super simple question, and it absolutely deserves a very simple, direct answer.
So, the big question is the personal info that XOVA collects being sold off to advertisers, to other companies, to anyone?
And the answer, stated right there in the policy, is a completely unambiguous no. It says, clear as day, right there in black and white, we do not sell your data. Honestly, it's one of the clearest statements in the whole document, and it's a direct promise to you, the user.
But, and this is important, not selling data isn't quite the same as never sharing it. The policy makes it clear that data is shared, but only in these very specific, pretty standard situations, like with service providers who handle their cloud hosting, or with legal authorities if there's a court order, or with dApps that you specifically choose to connect to. So you see, this isn't about selling your info, it's just about what's needed to make the whole thing run.
And this brings us to a really important way of thinking about this. This privacy policy, it's not just some boring list of rules. It actually reflects the core philosophy of how the wallet is designed. And that philosophy is all about putting you and keeping you in the driver's seat. So here it is, the most important point of all. Your most sensitive information, your keys and your seed phrase, are only stored locally on your own phone or your computer. They are never, ever uploaded to XOVA's servers. This is what non-custodial actually means. It means XOVA can't access your funds, they can't freeze your funds, they can't lose your funds because they never have custody of them. You do, period. And because it's your data, that means you have rights over it. This policy isn't just about what the company does, it's also about what you are empowered to do. So let's take a quick look at what those rights are.
You have the right to get a copy of your data, to correct it if it's wrong, or even ask for it to be deleted. You can also object to how it's being processed or pull your consent for certain features. And the policy says you can do all this just by getting in touch with their support team.
So after going through all of this, here's the bottom line. XOVA, just like any app, does process some of your data. It has to provide the service and make it better. But the ultimate power, the keys to your actual crypto assets, those stay firmly and only in your hands. That's the fundamental deal here.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. We've talked a lot about data, but maybe the most important question this whole thing makes us ask is bigger than that. In a world that's becoming more and more digital every single day,
Knowing who really holds the keys, well, that's not just a technical detail. It's everything. It's the difference between asking for permission and true ownership.